That gate took like 7 minutes to fly.
Which is a good thing.
Somebody decides to break in Frost Bistro, come try to steal some money, steal the safe. Why not just do something in life to earn money and find something else to do? That's when they come out with the safe.
That's crazy. You know, it totally messes up your whole, like, your mental. You know what I'm saying?
It started with a knock, one that shattered every illusion of peace Kirk Frost had been clinging to. Moments after filing for full custody of his son Kannon, Kirk never imagined the firestorm waiting on his doorstep. The cameras weren't rolling. This wasn't part of a scripted reality TV moment. This was raw, chaotic, and terrifying. Jasmine, eyes blazing and voice trembling, stormed into Kirk's house with the fury of a woman pushed beyond the edge. Furniture flew, glass shattered, words cut deeper than any court filing ever could. But what no one expected? That she would try to run, literally, from it all. A window, a scream, and suddenly, this wasn't about custody anymore, it was about survival. Meanwhile, the internet exploded with theories, leaked footage, and screenshots that painted Jasmine in a shocking new light. What did she know? What was she hiding? And most importantly, was this a mother desperate to protect her child, or a woman unraveling in front of the world? You think you know the drama? You've seen cheating scandals and custody fights before? Trust us, you've never seen anything like this. This wasn't just messy, it was dangerous. And the fallout is just beginning. Ready? Because it only gets darker from here. Before the explosion of rage, before shattered glass littered the marble floors of Kirk's home, and before Jasmine's scream echoed down the halls like a curse, there was once an uneasy attempt at peace. The relationship between Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington had never been built on steady ground. From the very beginning, their connection was marked by shadows, by secrets, betrayal, and the weight of a love triangle that never fully dissolved. Jasmine wasn't just a fling, she became the mother of Kirk's son Kannon, a child conceived during one of the darkest chapters of Kirk and Rasheeda's marriage. And yet, despite the mess and public backlash, Kirk tried to take responsibility, tried to show up, tried to put out a fire that had already scorched the very foundation of his family. Jasmine, on the other hand, had long been battling demons of her own. Cast out as the other woman, she had spent years trying to reclaim a sense of dignity in a world that constantly reminded her of her past. Being a single mother, raising a child who carried the name of a man who wouldn't publicly embrace her, and enduring the humiliation of love and hip-hop cameras catching every emotional breakdown, it was enough to harden even the softest of souls. Still, in her heart, Jasmine believed she deserved something more: respect, acknowledgement, and most of all, consistency. But that's not what Kirk gave her. Over the years, Jasmine watched Kirk build a happy public image with Rasheeda. They opened businesses together, posted family photos with their other children, and even went on TV talking about rebuilding trust. Kannon, her son, became a footnote in Kirk's narrative. A weekend visit, a few gifts, an occasional birthday post, that's all Jasmine felt Kirk gave. And it stung, because to her, Kannon deserved the same love, the same presence, the same protection as his half-siblings. Every time she saw Kirk live his perfect dad image online, it twisted something inside her. She wasn't just angry, she was wounded. Despite their issues, Kirk had tried to maintain some form of peace with Jasmine. He paid support, albeit begrudgingly. He communicated when necessary. But as years passed and court orders shifted, Jasmine's frustration became explosive. She felt unheard, unvalued, and pushed aside. And then came the final straw, the custody battle. Kirk had quietly been consulting lawyers for months. He told himself it wasn't personal. That it was about what's best for Kannon. That Jasmine's volatility was beginning to affect the boy's well-being. There had been incidents, late-night calls, screaming voicemails, missed drop-offs, and moments where Kannon himself would shrink into silence when asked about his home life. Kirk believed, truly believed, that removing Kannon from that environment was the only way to give him peace. But he also knew Jasmine would see it differently. The filing for full custody was done in silence. No warning, no final conversation. Just a signature and a server's knock on Jasmine's door. That was Kirk's way, avoiding confrontation until it couldn't be avoided anymore. And when Jasmine received the papers, her entire world collapsed. In her eyes, this wasn't about what was best for Kannon. It was revenge. A calculated move by a man who had already humiliated her, who had allowed the world to reduce her to a side chick, and now wanted to steal the one piece of her life that gave her purpose. She felt cornered, alone, betrayed once again. And this time, there were no producers, no cameras, just rage. The emotional history between Kirk and Jasmine had never been one of love, it was survival. He had seen her cry after court hearings. She had watched him lie on national TV. Their history was one of weaponized emotions, passive-aggressive texts, and silent wars waged behind closed doors. Kannon was the only thread still binding them. And now, Kirk had gone for the scissors. Rasheeda, meanwhile, had chosen to remain distant from the drama. She had enough wounds from Kirk's past betrayals and wasn't ready to reopen old scars. But even she didn't anticipate the storm that was coming. Kirk had been unusually quiet leading up to the filing. He didn't tell Rasheeda the full truth until the papers were served. And when she found out, her reaction was mixed, part of her relieved that Kirk was stepping up for Kannon, another part weary of what chaos would follow. What none of them saw coming, however, was Jasmine snapping. Not just emotionally, but physically. The house invasion, the destruction, the emotional breakdown that would rattle every wall of the Frost family's already fractured legacy. Because at its core, this wasn't just about custody. It was about a woman who had spent years being dismissed, used, and discarded. About a man who believed he could outmaneuver consequences with money and legal paperwork. And about a child, Kannon, who was being tugged back and forth in a war neither of his parents had ever truly stopped fighting. Now, with the custody battle turned physical, and Jasmine's meltdown etched into the memory of everyone who witnessed it, the Frost household, and love and hip-hop fandom, would never be the same. The past was no longer behind them. It was bursting through the front door, shattering everything in its path. The house was still trembling from the chaos Jasmine had left behind. Glass glittered across the hardwood floor like scattered guilt, each piece a reflection of the years of pain and unspoken resentment now erupting into physical destruction. Kirk stood in the center of it all, stunned. His fists clenched, not out of anger, but from the weight of regret. Filing for full custody of Kannon had felt like the only way forward, until now. Now, as he looked around at the home they once tried to co-parent from, it felt like a battleground, not a sanctuary. His chest rose and fell as he pulled out his phone, fingers trembling. The screen showed dozens of missed calls, some from his attorney, some from Rasheeda, and one from an unknown number that chilled him to the core. What happened next took the drama to a whole new level. Just as he started dialing 911 to report the break-in and the violent outburst, his phone buzzed with a notification. A video had gone viral on Instagram, tagged with #KirkFrost, #CustodyDrama, and #JasmineUnhinged. Heart pounding, Kirk tapped the screen. What he saw nearly knocked the air out of his lungs. The footage, blurry but unmistakable, showed Jasmine outside Frost Bistro just hours earlier. She was pacing, screaming into her phone, and at one point, appeared to be talking to someone in a car. "He thinks he can take my son? He got another thing coming. If I can't have peace, neither can he," she shouted, her voice raw and trembling. Kirk sank onto the couch, phone still in hand. This wasn't just a custody dispute anymore, this was public warfare. And it wasn't going to stay confined to Atlanta's social scene. Within minutes, blogs picked it up. The Shade Room posted it with the caption, "Breaking, Jasmine goes off outside Kirk Frost's restaurant after custody filing, is she spiraling?" Fans rushed to the comments. Some were sympathetic, others brutal. "That girl needs help, Kirk been trifling, but this ain't the way." Rasheeda somewhere drinking wine, smirking in silence. The internet was feasting on the drama, but Kirk felt none of the heat. All he felt was cold, empty dread. Rasheeda called again. This time he answered. "What the hell is going on, Kirk?" Her voice rang with alarm. "I saw the video. She's spiraling and now your name is trending again, for the wrong reasons." Kirk sighed. "I'm trying to do what's right. I want my son safe. That woman, she ain't stable, Rasheeda. You know it." There was silence on the other end. "Be careful," she finally whispered. "Don't let her take you down with her. And you better lawyer up. This just got bigger than you think." She was right. Because within 24 hours, Jasmine flipped the narrative. She posted her own video, tear-streaked and dramatic, sitting in her car with no makeup on. "He's trying to take my child away," she said between sobs. "He doesn't want full custody. He wants full control. Is mad because I've moved on. Is mad because he can't manipulate me anymore. So now he's using our son to punish me." The video racked up views in minutes. Women flooded her comments with support. "We believe you, sis. Is just like every other controlling man with money. Take him for everything he got." But there was one detail she slipped in that flipped the whole situation. "He don't even take care of Kannon like that. Ask him how many nights he's stayed with him this month. Ask him when the last time he helped with homework was. He just wants to hurt me. He don't love that boy the way I do." That single statement lit up the internet like gasoline on fire. A well-known parenting blogger reposted it and captioned, "The difference between being a father and being a dad." Let's talk about it. Debates broke out in clubhouse rooms, Twitter spaces, and Instagram lives. Public figures started weighing in. Even Dr. Sherry from Iyanla, Fix My Life, made a cryptic tweet, "Children are not pawns. Emotional wounds are deeper than court papers." Kirk was spiraling. What was supposed to be a legal step to protect his son had turned into a circus. His lawyer called, "You need to lay low and stay out of the public for now. No statements. Let the court handle this. And for God's sake, don't retaliate." But Jasmine wasn't done. She had receipts, old text messages between her and Kirk, screenshots of cancelled visits, even a calendar app showing the few times he'd picked Kannon up in the last year. She dropped them like bombs. This man says he wants full custody? He ain't even show up for his own son's school recital. I had to beg him to call on his birthday. The fans were split. Some were dragging Kirk mercilessly. Others were suspicious of Jasmine's timing. One fan tweeted, "So you're mad now that he filed? Where was this energy when he was paying child support? Looks like a stunt." But the most shocking twist hadn't even landed yet. Late that night, Jasmine's ex, Rod, posted something cryptic, a picture of Kannon holding a toy truck with the caption, "A real father shows up, no matter what the court says." The internet exploded. Rod, who had been silent for years, was suddenly back in the mix. Rumors began swirling. Was he stepping in as Kannon's father figure again? Did Jasmine bring him back to build her custody case? Was Rod about to testify against Kirk? Kirk's blood ran cold. This wasn't just a bitter breakup turned messy. This was war, and Jasmine had just brought in reinforcements. The emotional temperature was boiling over, and the cast of Love and Hip Hop hadn't even spoken on it yet. But behind the scenes, producers were scrambling. This wasn't just drama. It was ratings gold. And just when it seemed like the story had hit peak madness, Jasmine showed up at Kirk's house again. Only this time, she wasn't alone. As Jasmine stood on the steps of Kirk's porch that second night, she wasn't alone, and that fact sent Kirk's anxiety spiraling. Next to her stood Rod, tall, calm, with a presence that unsettled the entire neighborhood just by standing still. This wasn't just a desperate woman showing up to argue over custody, this was a calculated entrance. Jasmine brought back up a man she knew would rattle Kirk. A man who had been there for Kannon when Kirk wasn't. A man who looked like he was ready to step back into the picture permanently. Kirk didn't open the door this time. Instead, he watched through the upstairs window, recording quietly as Jasmine began pacing again, ranting loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Rod didn't say much. He stood with his arms crossed, occasionally glancing up at the house, a smirk tugging at his lips. It was all too much. Too performative. Kirk knew she wanted to provoke him, and if he reacted, she'd use it in court. He wouldn't give her that satisfaction. But it was what Jasmine said next that turned everything upside down. "Since you want to drag me into court like I'm some kind of unfit mother," Jasmine shouted, her voice trembling with rage and adrenaline, "why don't I tell them what really happened in 2019? Why don't I tell them what you begged me to keep quiet about? You remember, Kirk. Don't act like you forgot." Kirk's blood ran cold. That year. That secret. The one he buried so deep not even Rasheeda knew the full story. She was bluffing, right? But as Kirk stood frozen behind the curtain, he saw Rod pull out his phone and begin filming. "This gonna be good," he muttered under his breath, capturing every second of Jasmine's tirade. "Tell him, Jazz." And she did. Loudly. For the whole street to hear. 2019. Miami. "You flew me out behind Rasheeda's back. You said it was just a talk, but then one thing led to another. And I stayed with you that weekend. In your hotel. In your bed." Kirk staggered back from the window. That wasn't just drama. That was a nuclear bomb. Because if that story got out, if she had proof, everything he'd tried to rebuild with Rasheeda, all the apologies, the therapy, the time, would mean nothing. The fans would crucify him. And worse, Rasheeda would walk away forever. Within hours, Jasmine's outburst was all over social media. Someone from across the street had gone live during the chaos. Comments poured in. "Wait, 2019? This man never stopped playing with her. Poor Rasheeda. She been a soldier for nothing. I thought we were past this. But Kirk is the drama. That night, Kirk didn't sleep. The footage had gone viral again, this time with a new hashtag, #MiamiWeekend. He called his lawyer in a panic. What can she use against me? He asked. Can she twist this to make me lose custody? His lawyer sighed. If she has proof of continued contact, especially if it paints you as manipulative or emotionally unstable, the court could consider it. We're not just fighting for custody anymore. Now we're fighting perception. Meanwhile, Jasmine wasn't done. Her Instagram story lit up again, this time with blurry screenshots of flight itineraries, a hotel room selfie showing Kirk's luggage in the background, and a saved voicemail from Kirk that simply said, "I needed that weekend with you." People lost their minds. And then, Rasheeda posted 3 words. "I've had enough." It wasn't a long caption. No hashtags. No tagged locations. Just a blank background with black text. Fans and blogs took that and ran. Had she finally reached her limit? Was she done protecting Kirk? Inside the Frost home, the mood was deadly silent. Kirk tried calling her, no answer. He sent long texts, trying to explain, justify, beg. Still nothing. Rasheeda wasn't just angry, she was numb. And that was worse. Because the next day, Rasheeda showed up at the courthouse. Alone, not to support Kirk, but to file her own petition. For a legal separation. Insiders claimed she didn't speak much to anyone. Just showed the clerk the paperwork and quietly left. When a fan approached her outside and asked if she was okay, Rasheeda just nodded and whispered, "It's time." But the chaos didn't end there. Because just when everyone thought Jasmine had played her final card, Rod went live. And this wasn't any casual live. It was a sit-down, straight-to-camera, confession-style video. No music. No edits. Just raw truth. "Y'all wanna talk about fathers? Let's talk," Rod began. "I was there for Kannon. Every damn day. When Jasmine was sick, when she was broke, when she was spiraling, who showed up? Me, not Kirk. And now, because he wants to flex some power in court, he's trying to erase me from that boy's life?" Rod looked straight into the lens. "Well, let me say this. If he keeps pushing, I'm testifying. And I've got messages, too. From Kirk. From back when he begged me to keep quiet." Screenshots appeared on screen. One read, "Rod, I appreciate you being there, but let me handle this moving forward. The public can't know everything." Another showed Kirk offering money. "Just let me deal with it my way. I'll take care of y'all." It was a mess. A certified disaster. But it wasn't just embarrassing anymore. Now it was dangerous. The courts were watching. CPS had started looking into the Frost household after neighbors reported Jasmine's breakdown and Kirk's refusal to come outside. They were quietly evaluating Kannon's safety, on both sides. Kirk's lawyer called him again. "This has become a high-profile case. You need to stay silent. Stay off social media. Don't respond to anything." But it was too late. The damage had been done. His reputation was in ruins. Jasmine had painted herself as the wounded mother. Rod, the loyal father figure. And Kirk? He was now seen as the manipulative, unfaithful, toxic ex trying to steal a child out of spite. And the worst part? Kannon was watching all of it. The boy's teachers had called. He was withdrawn, angry, confused. He had told one staff member, "I think my dad and my mum hate each other. I don't want to live with either of them." The fallout was starting to reach the one person this whole fight was supposed to protect. And as Kirk sat alone in his house, scrolling through memes mocking him, and DMs from strangers calling him a deadbeat clown, he realized something terrifying. He might lose everything. Not just his son, not just Rasheeda, but himself. The fallout from the confrontation between Kirk and Jasmine rippled far beyond the front door of the Frost residence. By the next morning, the streets of Atlanta weren't just buzzing, they were shaking. Blogs lit up, influencer podcasts dissected every frame of Jasmine's meltdown, and YouTube reaction channels began pushing out videos with titles like, "Jasmine snaps, this is beyond child support now," and "Kirk Frost might have just lost everything." But it wasn't just gossip. This time, the scandal was personal for fans, and the emotional tone online was different. People weren't just angry, they were heartbroken. Outside the courthouse, media crews had started to post up. Rumors swirled that Rasheeda might be filing for divorce in tandem with Kirk's custody case. The press wanted confirmation. Fans wanted answers. Everyone was waiting for someone, anyone, to speak. Rasheeda, always the composed face of elegance under pressure, had maintained an eerie silence. She hadn't posted since her ominous, "I've had enough" post. And while Kirk's lawyer was begging him to stay offline, Jasmine was doing the opposite. She was posting cryptic selfies, angry captions, and screen-recorded call logs. It was chaotic. It was destructive. And it was gaining traction. Behind the scenes, friends and family of all three began to pick sides. Rasheeda's mother, Miss Charlene, made her stance loud and clear. She posted a meme that read, "Protect your peace, even if you have to evict the problem," with a caption that simply said, #period. She followed it up the next day with another jab, "Funny how folks want to be fathers once a court's involved." The comments exploded. Miss Charlene had always been the protective matriarch, but this time, she wasn't just defending her daughter, she was declaring war. In a surprising move, Jasmine's own mother came forward in a brief Facebook video, pleading for people to see Jasmine's side. Her voice trembled as she said, "My daughter isn't perfect, but she's a mother. A good mother. And watching someone try to take her child through the courts is destroying her." But that video got less sympathy than expected. The comment section was a battlefield. Half the people blamed Jasmine for escalating everything to the point of violence. The other half blamed Kirk for years of emotional warfare that finally pushed Jasmine over the edge. Then, there were the cast members of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, who had all been suspiciously quiet, until one of them finally broke the silence. Spice. In a viral live session, she didn't name names, but it was obvious who she was talking about. "I don't care how mad you are, you don't bring drama to someone's house where their kids sleep. That's crossing a line. We all got problems, but some of y'all doing way too much for attention, and it's disgusting." Fans instantly clipped the moment, tagging Jasmine relentlessly. Bambi also made a subtle post that read, "Stay out the courtroom if your receipts ain't clean." Another dig? Definitely. Sierra followed suit with, "This ain't Love and Hip Hop, it's Law and Order, Baby Mama Crimes Unit." The pressure was mounting on all fronts. But the most devastating ripple hit where it hurt Kirk most, his son. Kannon had started acting out at school. Teachers reported he was withdrawn, agitated, and had gotten into a shoving match with a classmate who made a joke about his parents being on TV for fighting. That call broke Kirk's spirit in half. He sat alone in the Frost Bistro office, listening to the voicemail from Kannon's teacher on repeat. "He's hurting, Mr. Frost. And honestly, I think he needs to talk to someone. This is too much for any child." And then it hit him. This wasn't just about custody or control. This wasn't about money. This was about a little boy who had been dragged through years of passive-aggressive text exchanges, whispered arguments behind doors, broken promises, court orders, and now viral videos. Kannon had become collateral damage in a war waged by two adults who loved him, but who couldn't love each other without setting everything on fire. The blogs continued to stir the pot. Hollywood Unlocked posted a side-by-side timeline of Jasmine's accusations and Kirk's custody filing. The Shade Room ran a poll asking fans whether Jasmine's meltdown would destroy her chances in court or make her more sympathetic. The results were split, just like the fandom. Some felt Jasmine was pushed to her breaking point and simply snapped. Others said she was proving exactly why Kirk needed full custody. Back at home, Rasheeda finally spoke, not online, but privately, to a close friend, and of course, the message leaked. "I don't know who to believe anymore. I just know I'm tired. Tired of being dragged into mess. Tired of raising grown men. Tired of smiling while breaking." The quote was heartbreaking, and instantly turned into a viral graphic. Even more fans began posting support videos for Rasheeda, some sharing stories of their own messy co-parenting battles, others expressing how much they admired her composure. But that admiration was also laced with deep concern. One fan tweeted, "Rasheeda deserves therapy, a vacation, and a man who doesn't embarrass her every 3 to 5 business days." The emotional toll was growing. Publicly, Kirk and Jasmine were adversaries. Privately, they were both unraveling. Kirk had stopped going to the bistro. He was barely answering his team's calls. Jasmine's friends claimed she hadn't slept properly in days. Her mother was reportedly staying with her full-time, afraid she'd have another outburst. Kannon had been placed with a neutral guardian temporarily, reportedly Rasheeda's sister, until the next court hearing. But as fans watched the tragedy unfold, there was still one terrifying realization hovering in the background. just when the storm seemed to be settling, when everyone thought the worst had passed and the only thing left was a courtroom date, everything took a sharp, terrifying turn. Jasmine vanished. Not from social media, no. She was still posting passive-aggressive quotes and blurry selfies with captions like, "Trust no one." Not even the ones who said they loved you. But in real life, her house was empty. Her phone went unanswered. Even her mother, who had been living with her out of concern, reported to authorities that Jasmine hadn't returned home after stepping out the night before. Her purse was gone, her car missing, and the only clue she left behind was a scribbled note on the back of a utility bill that read, "I warned you not to push me." The energy shifted immediately. Blogs that had been trashing her for her outburst now posted red alert updates. #Where is Jasmine started trending. Even Rasheeda, who had been silent and removed from the drama, reportedly texted Kirk late that night with a single line, "Have you heard from her?" The weight of her disappearance fell heavy over everyone. And with Kannon caught in the middle, the tension became unbearable. That same night, Kirk received a text from an unknown number. No name, just a blurry photo. It was Jasmine, sitting alone in what looked like a hotel room, staring out the window with her head buried in her arms. And just beneath the photo were 6 words that chilled Kirk to his core: "If I can't have him, no one will." Kirk froze. His heart slammed against his ribcage. He showed the image to no one. Not even Rasheeda. Not even his legal team. He couldn't, because the message wasn't about him. It was about Kannon. In a panic, Kirk contacted Jasmine's sister, her ex, even Rod. No one had seen her. No one had talked to her. Rod, alarmed and frustrated, responded, "You pushed her to this. This whole custody thing, it broke her." The guilt began to seep in. Had Kirk underestimated how far Jasmine would go? But that wasn't the final twist. 3 days later, just before the custody hearing, a private investigator hired by Kirk's lawyer delivered damning footage that changed everything, again. Security footage from a parking garage in Buckhead showed Jasmine meeting with someone no one had expected. KK. Yes, the same KK who had once mentored Jasmine back in her club days. The same KK who had warned Kirk months ago to be careful who you co-parent with. She had been silent through the whole ordeal. Now here she was, caught on camera handing Jasmine a thick envelope and whispering something into her ear. Kirk's team was stunned. Was KK helping Jasmine flee? Was this all orchestrated? But just when it looked like Jasmine had vanished for good, she re-emerged, boldly. She posted a full IGTV video. Calm, direct, but loaded with venom. She looked straight into the camera and said, "To everyone wondering where I've been, I was thinking. I was planning. And I'm not hiding. I was pushed to the edge, and I snapped. But don't get it twisted. I'm not broken. I'm just getting started." She smirked. "And Kirk, if you think you're winning this custody case, baby, wait till the judge sees what I got." The screen cut to black. And then, a grainy video started to play. A voice. A blurry silhouette. A man, clearly Kirk, talking on the phone with someone about Kannon. His words? "If she don't chill, I'll just drag her through court till she's broke. That's all this is. A game. She wants to play? Let's play." The internet exploded. Was it real? Was it doctored? Was Jasmine bluffing? It didn't matter. The seed of doubt had been planted, and now everything had changed. Kirk's legal team was scrambling. Rasheeda's silence returned. Kannon? Still in the care of a neutral guardian. Jasmine? Unpredictable, vengeful, and now, playing by her own rules. And the final twist? The court date had been rescheduled, pushed back 3 weeks. Why? Because Jasmine filed her own counter-motion, not just for custody, but to terminate Kirk's parental rights. This wasn't just a battle anymore. This was nuclear. And this time, no one, not even Kirk, was ready. And just like that, we've reached the edge of a war that's no longer about co-parenting, it's about survival, reputation, and the legacy left behind. Kirk Frost thought he was making a bold legal move to protect his son, but what he ignited was a personal explosion that's consumed everything in its path: his relationship, his household, and his already fragile public image. Jasmine? She's no longer just the scorned ex. She's become a woman backed into a corner, clawing her way out with receipts, footage, and fury, and now, she's turning the tables in a way no one expected. From leaked voice notes to her calculated IGTV expose, the court of public opinion is split, and the real courtroom drama hasn't even peaked. But let's be honest, who do you believe in all this? Do you think Kirk was being honest about his motives, or is this just another chapter in his long history of deflecting responsibility? Is Jasmine unstable and manipulative, or has she finally snapped after years of being dragged, dismissed, and denied? And most importantly, what will happen to Kannon? We need to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Was Kirk right to file for full custody, or did Jasmine's response prove he underestimated her completely? Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because trust us, this story is far from over. You don't want to miss the next bombshell that could flip this custody case on its head. Another witness is coming forward. Another video is about to leak. So buckle up, stay locked in, and remember, in the world of reality TV, the truth is never simple, and the drama is never done. Until next time, stay messy, stay woke, and stay watching.